Welcome to the podcast. My name is Michelle Sinclair. I'm a divine healer and spiritual teacher. So we're just going to start out here with a little bit of a story. So when you can understand that we are here to forgive, and that if you do not, you will have to come back again and be wounded again to have the opportunity again to forgive, you then begin to take it quite seriously and think, well, certainly I don't want to have to come back again for this. That's not part of something I'd like to do. And you then, by any means necessary, find it within you to forgive. So let me tell you how I came to forgive, and how my story may also help you to do the same. So we'll begin at the beginning, which is with my father. So I was very resentful towards him, as were my sisters, for years and years and years and years. And when I think back on my life, I had kidney stones when I was, I think I was 16. I had, things like this. It's very strange, that's so young to have something like that. But it was the anger that I had towards my father, and that anger that I had played out as me rebelling in the world. And so I had gone for years of, this anger, and I would think about him all the time in an angry, resentful way. And it was not until I had a past life regression session where I came to realize, he was a part of that past life. I didn't forgive him in that past life. We pass on and we come to realize I was supposed to forgive you, not get revenge on you. And it was that truly set me on the path to understanding, forgiveness is a must. We have to do it, because if we don't, then a new agreement has to be made, and the person has to come back, and you have to come back, and they have to harm you in some way so that you can learn to forgive them. And it goes both ways. This isn't only one way. This karmic retribution, if somebody has not had the opportunity to forgive you in another life, they need to learn this forgiveness. Perhaps in your soul group, you decide, okay, well, I'm going to come back and I'm going to harm you. Yeah, I'm going to play that role because I'm going to learn a lot from it as well. We learn from all the things, no matter whether we are playing the person being hurt or the person that is hurting. There is so much to overcome, right? If you have done something to somebody, you have to deal with then the guilt or the shame or the regret or the remorse or whatever it happens to be around that situation. And that is the gift, because once you overcome that, you level up, in spiritual awareness, spiritual growth. The same as if you are the person who has been harmed, in order to muster up the strength to forgive somebody, it is such a difficult thing. There's so many things that you have to overcome in order to do that. And through that, you gain spiritual growth. So it does work both ways. This is where that saying, there is no good or bad or right or wrong, but my thinking makes it so. And perhaps you could think of a time in your life where you thought something was bad, and then you came to realize later that it was good. This relationship ended and I was so devastated by it. But then this new one came in because I no longer wasn't in that one. And what a wonderful, beautiful gift it was. But if you were to go back at that time when you were losing the first one, what a grievous thing it was. But from it, you learned, you grew, you realized maybe where you could be a better partner, where you wouldn't accept things that you had been accepting from, your previous partner, and it evolves you. You move upwards. So when I realized with my father that, in this past life session, and then it went to an in-between life session, that it was about forgiveness, it made it so much easier to forgive, because I realized, this is no longer optional. This is not just something I guess I will if I can. It was no, this is not an option. It must be done. And so through really seeing that of, you had to come here to harm me so I could forgive you, I could then forgive. And once you can forgive, then you actually realize there's nothing to forgive. There's nothing to forgive in the first place. Because it was all meant to be that way. Okay, so second example was an ex-boyfriend. And so I was, pregnant when I was 15 by this man. And he was very, very abusive, physically, mentally, all the things. And so I really actually didn't even think about him for years and 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 years. He was not part of my life. And if his name would get brought up, so this is how you'd know, if somebody's name gets brought up, I would get very upset. Like, why would you bring him up? Why would you want to talk to him? I don't want to think about this. I don't want to whatever. That's how you know you haven't forgiven. That's how you know, because you don't want to address it. And so this came up one time. I remember we were driving somewhere, taking a little trip, traveling somewhere, and his name got brought up, and I just remember being like super upset by it, like really pissed off. Why would you talk about this person? Why would this get brought up? It just made me so upset. And it was that made me realize, oh, okay, I guess I do need to forgive this person. I hadn't forgiven them. And so however long later, maybe, a couple weeks after that incident, I then was laying there meditating and thought, no, I need to forgive. And then I was afforded the opportunity to forgive because I viewed him in a whole and totally, completely new perspective. He was abused as a child. He watched the abuse as a child. His father would put cigarettes out on his mom's body. Like, he was just terrible, and he's witness to this. And then his father leaves him and never returns, never comes back when he was 7. So he is suffering the loss. He's feeling alone. He's been in this world of abuse. He's in this confusion. And of course, someone who is so hurt is going to hurt somebody else. And so he hurt me, all the things that he did. And I had such major, huge, giant compassion for that young version of him that I just forgave in that moment and was like, oh, I'm so sorry, that poor boy. I get it. I forgive. Thank you. And it was done. It was released. And how you know is because you want enlightenment for that person. You want such good things for that person, right? You don't want them to go around harming anybody else. You want only goodness for them. This is how you know you've truly forgiven. So I forgave the dude. And then within a couple of months, maybe 2 months or something like that, I then got a message from him. And keep in mind, I hadn't talked to him in 18 years. And I just got a message apologizing for, hey, I didn't treat you right. I'm so sorry about this, blah, blah, blah. And it was just the most wonderful, welcome apology and thing that I could have got. But I didn't need one. I wasn't expecting it, didn't need it at all. But I'm glad it came because I realized through that not only had I set him free, not only had I set myself free, but I had set him free. And I wanted this for him. And I remember I had seen a picture of him with his family, and I thought, oh man, I hope he's not abusing them. And I was like, oh, I hope that woman has straightened him out or whatever has gone on. Like, I just hope that she is okay and that those children are okay. This was a concern of mine. And so then when I received that letter from him, just a Facebook message, I was like, okay, sweet, good. Then at least he's on the right track. I don't know what he was doing previous, but obviously something has happened that has pushed him into sending me this message. And so there has to be some type of growth that has occurred within him. And so then I was like, okay, sweet, this is good. Okay, and so then the next example, when I realized that my husband had betrayed me over and over and had been lying to me and all the things that I realized, and I was so, grievously destroyed by this. It was the most difficult thing I'd been through in my life. Upon knowing, because I had previously forgiven these other dudes, so I knew it was a needed, necessary part, knew it. There was no doubt in my mind, I have to forgive this. And at the point when I went to forgive, I was hoping, what I wanted was him. And I wanted to be able to forgive and to just, let it go and be like, okay, it's like it never happened and we're good and we can be together. And that was not the result of it. Thank you, God, that was not the result of it. Thank you. That was not the result. But I forgave, 100% forgave, which led to enlightenment, because you know what it takes when you have got to overcome that hardest darkness that you've ever been in. It is something. It freaking takes something to overcome that, man. And once you overcome it, the only way to overcome it is to get in divine alignment, is to realize that all of it is for love. All of it is for every bit, every drop, every tiny little piece of it is all for love. It's all working for you. It's for your betterment. And that sometimes things have to appear in a certain way, maybe terrible. They have to appear not good at all, for us to be able to learn the lessons from it and to find the healing and to find the forgiveness anyways. And it is through that all of the wonderful, amazing things can come. And so if there's somebody in your life who you need to forgive, maybe it's yourself. That's the trickiest part, right? We can forgive other people. I understand. And sometimes, let me tell you, fake forgiveness is when somebody will be talking about something. I'll have a client come and they'll be talking and they'll say, no, my childhood. And they'll start talking and they'll start telling you stories. And then you'll be like, okay, well, have you forgiven the parent? And they're like, they did the best they could, and they will just start to make excuses for them. And I can tell through their excuses that are attached to these stories that they have not actually forgiven them, but they're just trying to set it aside and rationalize in their mind, like, okay, I need to, and I, whatever, but they haven't actually truly forgiven, because they still speak about that person in a resentful manner. And so if this is you, or if anytime somebody's name comes up and you just don't want to hear it and you just don't want to address it and you haven't forgiven. So working towards this forgiveness, it will set you free, because you are carrying that heavy, dense energy in your energy system, which underlies your body, which eventually is going to show up as an ailment or something like that in your body. These things also show up in our body when we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, when we're not in the places that we're supposed to be. If there's something inside of you saying, get me the frick out of this place where I'm at, your body is going to start to break down, and it's going to say, get me out of here. And it's going to keep telling you these things, and these things are going to keep coming up because it's trying to push you in the place that you're supposed to be. So when you find it within you to forgive others, then you will be able to also forgive yourself. And this is a beautiful and necessary gift that needs to happen, because if you are holding unforgiveness within yourself, you will be punishing yourself and you won't even know you're doing it. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you like to go out and drink alcohol, and you know that this has become a problem for you, that it's not good. Maybe you've nearly, drowned yourself in the tub. Maybe you've done things and the next day you're like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. You feel regret. Maybe it's because you're wasting your life on that next day when you're hungover and you feel like a bag of crap, and then you're short-tempered with everybody, and you just know that this is a problem for you. Now, the reason why you're doing it, and let me be very clear about this is a punishment that you are giving to yourself. And you are repeatedly giving yourself that punishment because you keep repeatedly punishing yourself by doing more. So let's say this. Okay, let's use that example, but we're going to switch it to I have an addiction to smashing a rock on my face. Okay, because this is the same thing. So I take that rock and I smash my face, and I'm like, I don't know, I can't help it. I'm just addicted to it. Just stay with me here. And so then the next day you wake up and you see your face is all bruised and battered, and you're like, oh man, why? Why am I doing this to myself? And rather than forgive yourself and allowing the healing to take place, that night you look at your face in the mirror and you're so pissed at yourself that you've done this to yourself that you take that rock and you smash yourself in the face again. This is self-punishment. And the only way that you are going to get over it is when you forgive yourself and you understand through the forgiveness of yourself why it was happening in the first place. You do not need more punishment. You need forgiveness. And as soon as you can forgive yourself for that addiction or for that thing that you just can't seem to stop doing, then you're going to stop doing it. Because you're not going to need to continually punish yourself, because you're punishing yourself for that very thing that you know that you do not need to be doing and that is harmful to you. And so because you keep doing it and you keep engaging with it day after day after day, you believe you need more punishment, and so you keep doing it, and so you become addicted to it. This applies to any single addiction that you have. You're smoking those cigarettes and you keep smoking and you know, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. And how many times do you tell yourself that I shouldn't be doing this? And so as a form of your own punishment for yourself, you continue to smoke them because you are continuing to punish yourself. Whereas if you would forgive yourself for engaging in that, and if you were to truly love yourself, you would just immediately stop. You would immediately stop. Everything boils down to this forgiveness and this acceptance of what is, because there is no good, there is no bad, there is no right, there is no wrong, but it is our thinking that makes it so. Now you could say, well, that is not true. what about these people who do these horrible, awful things to these children? Well, here is the example that I'm giving to you right now. Let's say that you needed to come into this life and you needed to find forgiveness because you couldn't do it in a previous life. You just couldn't do it. You couldn't manage it. You didn't know that it was a thing. You didn't know that that's why you were here, because we get this amnesia when we're born and our brains are wiped and we're like, we're here. And you didn't know. But your life was based around forgiveness. That's what this go was about. And I'm telling you, everybody's got a little bit of different something that they got to work through in their life. But if there's people in your life that you need, that you need to forgive, then this is also part of your path. This applies to you. So you came here and you needed to learn this forgiveness. And so what had to happen? Well, you couldn't just come in and have nobody hurt you. Otherwise there'd be nothing to forgive, right? So then these things have to be introduced. And what is the hardest thing to forgive? I don't know. It's different for every single person. It's completely different for every single person. What the hard thing for me is might not be the hard thing for you. I've told people before, about, my husband did this and that, and I can't imagine, cheating and this and that. That would just, I couldn't, that was the toughest thing for me. Whereas somebody else who that's not a tough thing for them, they're like, I understand it in a different way. I don't really care. That wouldn't affect me. My partner's still with me and blah, blah, blah. Good for them. That's their thing. That's not the difficult thing. So whatever your difficult thing is, it needs to be brought forward so that it can be difficult to forgive so that you can learn. It's all about learning. And so here's the basis of it. Through that learning, through that forgiveness, you get into divine alignment. And so every little thing that happens is pushing you towards divine love. It does not appear this way when you're in the middle of it, or at the beginning of it, or when it's just happened. It doesn't appear this way. But if you can remember this, and you can remember to be thankful for it in the right now, I don't know why, Divine, but I know that you're doing this for a purpose. I know that you're doing this so that I can clear away any of these energies, make more space for good things, for higher vibrational frequency energies to come to me. I don't understand why you're doing it, but I'm already thankful because I know only good is going to come from this. Only goodness is going to come from this experience. And when you can do that in the right now, then that shifts things for you. It will change things for you. First of all, you're immediately going to feel some relief because you're now in the energy of thankfulness. And you're also now in the expectation. You're in the energy of expectation of goodness to follow. Goodness is coming. So I shifted this when I left Canada and I moved down to the States, and I had left my ex. He would, text or call and just try to instigate things, right? Because he still wanted attention. He wanted me to pay attention to him, and so he would purposefully, get me upset. And so, these things would happen, and he would call, and then I would, be upset, but I would only allow it for, 20, 30 seconds max. Like I set the limit of, nope, I'm not doing this. And I would immediately go into the energy of thankfulness because I recognized it. I recognized it right away. When I had first moved down, he had upset me. I had no idea what it was about. Had upset me, and I had thought, I'm at the peak. I'm at the peak of feeling totally amazing and blah blah blah. I'm at the peak of enlightenment. And then he calls and he upsets me, and within 2 days, I had leveled up so significantly from where I had been, which I had thought I had been at the highest point. But then every time that he would call and upset me and I wouldn't allow it and I was mastering these things, it would make me level up. It would make me level up even more. I would become even stronger and even more powerful every single time. And so I'm recognizing this. This is a gift. This thing that's sent to upset me, this is my gift. I'm developing mastery around it. And so when it would happen and he'd call or be ridiculous, like he's so ridiculous, you can't even, it's hilarious actually. So I would take that, and then rather than getting upset, I would laugh and I would go, it's going to be good tomorrow. I don't know what you've got for me, Divine, but it is going to be so good tomorrow. And I 100 million, billion, trillion% believed in it with no doubt. And I would wake up the next day just elated, just freaking elated. So you can take any negative things that have happened to you in the past, and as soon as you switch it and you give the energy of thankfulness rather than I'm a victim, you have switched the frequency, you've changed the energy, and goodness is going to come from it when you believe in it and you don't doubt. It is those doubtful energies that drain you, that pull away all the goodness that wants to come to you and leave you feeling like you're lacking in some way and leave you in a state of confusion of the why. And I've been there, man. I've been there. I've been through the why is this happening, and I couldn't wrap my head around it. And then I went through the energies of extreme heartbreak, which had nothing. This was after my husband, and I was going through these things, and I'm trying to understand why this is happening. Why this is happening? I couldn't wrap my head around it. And every time that we have one of these things, we think, well, no, this time it's different. No, this time it can't be about that. No, this time it's different. It's not. It's never different. Every single time it is making us stronger, it is making us more powerful, and it is having us step into our power that we did not have previous to that event or that instance or that circumstance or whatever it was, situation happening to us. It is making us more powerful, but it only does this when we believe in it. It only does this when we recognize the truth that is in it, because there's truth and there's divine truth and then there's your truth. And the truth that you're in is all based on the things that you believe. And you get proof of those things every single day, constantly, all the time, always, 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 always. It doesn't mean that they're true, but they're true to you. They're true in your world. They're true in your perspective because of the things that you believe. And so when you shift that belief and you put your belief in the actual truth, the universal truth, which is universal love, then it shifts everything for you. Because you then believe in that, and then you understand that these things that are happening are for the best. And the truthful thing is that every single thing that happens is for our betterment. Everything is for the upliftment of not just ourselves, but of the planet as a whole. It's for all of us. Because as I forgive you, you are then free to forgive yourself. And think about the energy of not being in forgiveness. Oh, it's heavy, it's burdensome. It's energy draining. It's energy siphoning. It's terrible. But think about the energy of forgiveness. When you've set yourself free, and by you setting yourself free, you've also set that other person free. They're now free and everybody's just free. What is higher vibrational? What's more in divine alignment? Is the love. Is the love, and is understanding that everything is working for me, and it can't not work for me because it's all working for me because it's meant to be this way. We are on an upward spiral. And the left side is dark, and the right side is light. And we are just coming up out of that spiral, out of the darkness. There's still these remnants of these shadows that are being illuminated because the light is now being shined on them. And it couldn't in the past. There was unawareness that was there because you were literally being kept in the dark. But now that this light is coming up and it's shining and it's bringing this awareness, you can now set yourself free. And very soon we are just going to be in the frequency in that heightened state where there's only the light and we don't even remember that darkness. Because we're transforming the world. We are creating an era of peace and love, and it's our every loving thought that's a transforming influence on this planet, and forgiveness is a massive, huge step in that. So blessings I send to you all here today. Thank you guys for tuning in to me. If anyone would like to work with me, be my client, you can go and check the website down below, therealhealinginstitute.com. That's me. And you can contact me through there, and I'm sending so much love and blessings raining down on your head. Please like, share, subscribe. You could even send this to a friend if you feel that this might be helpful for a friend. You know, somebody who could use some assistance with forgiveness. Anyways, I love you all so very much, and I will see you guys in the next one. Y'all take care.